Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm KandyCorpse, you can call me Kay, and some of y'all know this video is a little late. It was initially going to be one day late, like how my other one earlier this week was a day late, but I just had a lot going on. Listen, y'all know, if you watched my other video or if you came from Instagram, I had an eye injury like a week ago. I can finally open my eye. I literally slept for 3 days straight. Like, it was crazy, but I'm here now. I'm back to reading Reddit stories, reacting to Reddit stories, etc. So this is going to be the Let's Not Meet / Scary Stories video. And I am pulling all these from Let's Not Meet, but like when I say scary stories, like some of them are crime related for those who haven't seen my videos before. Some are crime related and some are not necessarily paranormal, but a little weird, a little creepy, a little like, I don't really know what happened. I don't have an explanation, probably a person, but like, what if? You know what I mean? So that's why I like doing the Let's Not Meet. If you want to know my feelings about true crime, you can ask in the comments or DM me, whichever. I've talked about it in another video briefly, but yeah. Anyway, to continue. So this first story is titled Chased by a Man with a Knife, and as usual, I'm going to link the stories down below. Don't look at my bangs. I know they're fucked up right now, and honestly, I'm not going to fix them because I'm probably going to take a nap after this before I go into work. To be honest with you. Okay. Chased by a Man with a Knife. Hello guys. So we went for a hike with my boyfriend for his birthday today. We're not very superstitious people, but we were quite anxious the whole time. We didn't meet anyone on the road, and I was feeling weird. Like, I was thinking, I know we're gonna meet someone, but that someone I wasn't chill about. My boyfriend was a bit nervous, which is unusual of him as he's very used to hiking pretty much anywhere. All right, so we were 4+ hours into the hike, and we reached almost the end. I'm going to try not to give too much commentary because I want this to be short, but people who can hike for more than 4 hours, good for you. Maybe it's just maybe it's just because I have a physical disability, but I cannot imagine hiking that long. Like, truly, I don't mind because like I think it's fun just like walking, maybe having a conversation, listening to some music, you know, just hanging out, chilling in nature. But I could not physically walk that long, especially hiking, depending on the type of hike. Like, my legs would give out. You'd have to roll me down the mountain, like, for real. There was some sort of cabin in the forest, and a guy looking like Tom Hanks in Castaway, I swear to God, was there. He jumped out of his cabin naked. Pause. Y'all are on this man's property, but that's still crazy as fuck. That would make me leave. With a knife and began to make grunts. Ooh. I told my boyfriend he had a knife, and the guy starts to run to us. My boyfriend told me to run, go, and I tried to do my best as I'm not the most sporty girl. Me too, girl. I believe I fell a few times. I have a lot. I'm thinking it's supposed to say fell. I believe I fell a few times because I have a lot of scratches and a bump on the shin, but I didn't feel it in the moment. After what felt like forever to run to escape him, we succeed to find a way out to a neighborhood and then a road. We felt so much relief at that moment. My question is, we feel in shock and pretty traumatized by it. Do you feel like it's a serious event or it's not that big of a deal? I know that it might sound stupid to ask, but we don't know anymore. Maybe we're overreacting. We did report it to the police, by the way, and they're supposed to go to the place, but we're not sure that they're gonna take the time for that. Sorry for the mistakes and the confusion. I'm French. Oh, girl, you're good. That's totally okay. I just saw another story. I don't think I clicked on it, but someone else said that they were French. But no, that explains why anyway, whatever. No, that is fucking scary. That's traumatizing, bro. Of course you're gonna be scared. I'm just interested to know, like, it sounds like maybe they haven't hiked that before or they went off trail. It sounds like they went off trail, to be honest. Which is very scary. Like, do not go off trail when hiking, walking, whatever you're doing. You're going tubing, skiing. If you're gonna do something in the woods, please do not go off the trail. Like, even unless you're like super experienced and you know the area, don't go off the trail, girl. Like, just in general, like, I spent a lot of my life in the woods growing up. I know a lot of hunters, trappers, things like that. And people still, those experienced hunters, experienced, woodsmen, homesteaders, things like that, they still go missing. They still get hurt. Crazy things still happen to them. So just like, I feel like I say this every time a story like this happens, but please, please, please be so careful. Like, I cannot express that enough. Be careful. It might seem safe, but you need to stay on the trail. I feel like I'm going on about this, but I'm so serious. Like, stay on the trail, because people don't. They drink, they wander off, and then bad things happen. Like, and this time, obviously, that wasn't the situation, but it sounds like they went off the trail, went into someone's property, and that guy ran out of the house, chased him out. I would too. Maybe not naked, but, So this next one is titled Getting Chased by a Man in the Woods. Wait, what? No, yeah. Other one said chased by a man with a knife. I didn't realize I clicked two very similar ones. That's actually kind of funny. I wonder if... I wish they gave a location, because I wonder if this is the same guy. Like, that would be crazy. So one night, me and my friends were playing some hide and seek in our hometown. We were probably like 13 at the time. So when I went into a small area that's basically like a shortcut from the main road to the side road, I unfortunately went alone and didn't even think of what could happen. I remember we were only 13 at the time and we didn't bring phones with us. So if something happened to us, nobody would have even known. So the game started and I ran sprinting into the woods area. First 30 seconds was good. Disclaimer, we have a rule that we have to come to the checkpoint where we start and we have to save ourselves from not getting picked to search. After around 1 minute, I start hearing footsteps. I say, "Hello, are you one of my friends?" And something that was there didn't say anything, so I started backing out. Unfortunately, the woods area has a main route and two side ones, so I could have run either way. I start backing out, and from nowhere, the man, and there's so many quotes, just appears from the woods and starts sprinting at me while saying, "I'm gonna catch you," in a creepy and eerie way, like a kidnapper, fortunately. I train football, and then it says soccer in like parentheses, so definitely not American, which is fine. So basically not American football. So I knew I can definitely outrun him, or at least make him tired. I sprint all my way through the woods with the only light being the moonlight, and around 2 minutes he gave up. I continued sprinting and got myself all the way to the checkpoint and told my friends what just happened. Of course, no one believed, but I didn't care since I knew it was real. To this day, I still don't know who or what had tried to catch me that night, but for sure, I know if I wasn't a sports guy, the outcome could have been very, very different. That's fucking scary, dude. Like, seriously, getting chased in the woods by someone you don't know, even if it's like, especially because no one like came by later and was like, "Hey, this is a prank, like I saw you in the woods and I scared you." Like, no, like that shit was real, and that was real scary. So this next one is actually, oh, there's a hair on my screen, a little bit longer than the first two. I, 29M, was out partying this Friday night with 4 of my female friends, 2 of which I just met that evening. We were having drinks at a club in Central Europe. The night was going great. We were dancing and talking. All of us had fun. Around 2 a.m., the girls grabbed a taxi and went home. I stayed a bit more at the club to finish my drink. I danced on the stage for about 20 minutes. Then I have to grab a taxi and went home. I arrived on the street where I live. My drunk ass realized that I have no keys and I couldn't get home as I live alone. So I called another taxi, went back to the club to look for my keys. First, I went to the bar to ask if anyone had brought my lost keys to them that night. Unfortunately, they didn't have my keys, so I started to look for them in the club and every place that I was in at night. I turned the flashlight on my phone and been looking for my keys in a mass of people. About 10 minutes go by and I didn't find anything apart from broken glass and cig butts. I went back to the place where I was initially looking for them. This is the place where we had been having our drinks with the girls. I started to look for the keys on the sitting benches instead of on the ground. I had my keys on the inside pocket of my jacket, as I always do, and my jacket was placed in the corner of the bench the whole night before I first left. People were sitting on the benches and they'd had their jackets on the benches too. I sat down near the corner where I was sitting before, and beside me was a guy with lines of some drugs on his phone. freely giving them to other people. He had put his jacket in the corner of the bench, and I wanted to look at the corner of the bench to see if my keys hadn't been pushed into the corner or something. So I grabbed his jacket, and to my surprise, my keys were right under his jacket in the middle of the bench. I was happy to find my keys. I was drunk and started pretty much yelling how happy I am to find my keys, and I was getting desperate at that moment. There was a guy on the bench that we had met with the girls before in this club. We'll call him L. He was really nice during the whole night, and so I kept talking to L when I found my keys. I even went to the bar and grabbed another beer just to talk for a bit more with L. I went to the toilet to have a pee, and when I came back, L found himself an acquaintance to which he was talking, so I just started to finish my beer while I smoked a cigarette and was ready to go home. This is when the guy that had lines of drugs on his phone had started talking to me. I'll call him Pedro, as it was definitely a fake name that he gave me. I've been talking with him in English. Pedro was 19 years old, and he was from Colombia. He told me stories about how life in Colombia is and how his family struggles. He told me that his father has died recently, and he's the oldest son, so he's in Slovakia trying to make some money for the family. He even showed me photos of him and his family back in Colombia. I sympathized with Pedro as I was feeling sorry for him. After about 20 minutes, El scored with a girl that he met and said that they're going to go home. He asked for Pedro if he has any MDMA on him, and he sold him some, so El left with the girl. People around the bench had seen that happening, so they wanted some drugs from Pedro, so he started to make lines on his phone again. I told Pedro that I'm going to go home, wish him best of luck, grabbed my jacket, and started walking. What is happening to me right now? This is when Pedro called out to me and stopped me. He said that it's late and he should go back to the hotel too, scratched the drugs from his phone onto the table, took his belongings, and told the people that they can finish whatever was left for free. Me and Pedro had walked out of the underground club. When we're outside, he asked me if I could walk him to his hotel, which was nearby, about a 5-minute walk. He told me in the club that he has no friends and no family in Slovakia, and I really sympathized with him, and I told him sure, I can walk him to the hotel. We were talking the whole way, and he was saying really nice things to me, like how I get his situation and how much of a good person I am. When we arrived at the hotel, the door was closed, and he messaged to someone to come and open the door for him. He asked if I wanted to have one last beer with him, to which I said sure, but I will be on my way once we finish the beer. Some girl came and opened the door for us. They spoke in Spanish as they greeted. The hotel itself didn't really look like a public hotel. There was reception and stairs. Up to the left was a dining room. Pedro told me to wait for him in the dining room. This was like 5 a.m. already. I went to the dining room, and there was a girl sitting there with her laptop. I greeted her with a hello and sat down. Pedro came after maybe 5 minutes with 2 open cans of some beverage. There was a parrot and a Jack Daniels logo that the can was in gold, I think. This is the moment that I should have gotten suspicious and not drank from the open can. My naive drunk ass overlooked this fact, and I drank from the can. I was talking with Pedro about all the drug cartels in Colombia and how their politics are fucked up. After about 10 minutes, I started to feel weird and looked at my phone. My hands and eyes were tingling. I was quickly aware of what was happening now. I turned on the location and mobile data on my phone and put the phone in a different pocket than I did that night. Pedro started to ask me how I'm feeling, to which my adrenaline levels blow up. I started to think that I'm being abducted by some Colombian human trafficking ring. My sight starts to weirdly tingle, and the lights were blinding me. My jaw was fucked up as I was pushing my teeth together. I've taken drugs in the past, and this felt like a stimulant and a disassociative, which was really weird for me to understand. I tried to keep my voice calm and my mind present. I told Pedro that I know what is going on, and I asked him why he gave me a stimulant if he needs me unconscious. Pedro's hand started to shake, and he didn't answer me. The girl at the laptop looked right in my eyes. The first time she even moved her body, Pedro grabbed his phone and started to write to somebody on WhatsApp. I told Pedro that they did a mistake in the dose and that I'm fine apart from having been unknowingly drugged. I think that Pedro had drugged me back in the club when I went to the toilet, which is why he quickly got up when I was leaving. Everything I said, Pedro rewrote to somebody else, and he always waited for an incoming message before saying anything to me. I started to talk to the girl too, told her that I didn't give a fuck about what they were doing here, but I'm walking out. At the moment, I remember saying that I get what Pedro is doing, but I don't get what the other girls part in all of this was too, and I was pointing my finger at her, Pedro had gotten a notification on his phone. He told me that he's sorry and I can go home if I want. I didn't respond to him, got my drugged ass up and walked out of the dining room. I stopped by the girl with the laptop, stared right into her eyes, and held my right hand into a fist bump. She looked in my eyes, gave me the fist bump, and did a weird grimace on her face. I walked to the door. As the reception was closed, I started to kick and punch the doors while yelling, "Open the door." The receptionist did, and I walked out. My heart was pumping, my whole body was shaking. I was feeling both dizzy and awake. I ran to a main street, and I was calling my mom to come and get me as fast as possible, but I didn't know where I was. I was feeling disassociated and couldn't really apprehend what just happened. I got to the main street where there was a bus stop, and I started to feel very paranoid. There was a white Mercedes SUV that stopped right in the main road near the bus stop that I stood on. They turned off their car lights and were just standing there. I told all this to my mom, and she told me to look for a camera. So I stood right under a camera, which was at the bus stop, to make sure that I'm seen. I was feeling and talking weirdly, to which my mom told me to talk to her to tell her what I can see around me. I seen a few people that walked to the main street. Everybody was on their phone and occasionally looking at me. One guy came close to the bus stop and I approached him, still had my mom on the phone, asked him what does he want from me, and he was like, "Sorry, do I know you?" To which I said that I'm sorry. After about 10 minutes of being on the phone with my mom, the white SUV turned on the engine and left. My mom came by car soon after. I was walking to her car on the road, but I couldn't walk properly. I felt paranoid, tons of adrenaline going through my body, and my heart was pumping so fast that I thought I was going to have some kind of seizure. I managed to get in my mom's car. She was in her pajamas, so scared. I started to tell her everything that happened. I told her to drive around our city instead of driving me home in case they're following us. We were driving around for maybe an hour, talked about what happened during the night, how the inside of that building looked and all. My jaw was going so crazy that my mom could hear it and was really scared for me the whole ride. I was feeling really weird at one point. It felt like my soul left my body. I can't really describe it. It didn't feel like myself and like I'm not real. Lights were blinding me and my vision was blurred and tingling. Like my eyes were going up and down all the time. I didn't feel a rush of euphoria or anything. I thought that the guy gave me some sort of mix of drugs. I arrived at my house around 7 past... That's not what it says. I arrived at my home about 7:30 a.m. My mom stayed at home with me, comforting me. I tried to sleep, but I couldn't. We're talking about going to the police and also if I'm in any kind of danger anymore. At around 11 a.m., I fell asleep. During this time, my mom cleaned my apartment. My sister came to visit me. I don't know what I would do without my family. One of my girlfriends that was with me during the night came to visit me. As I talked to her, I thought that I got some kind of episode, like a schizophrenic or something. Like, why the hell would I be a target for something like this? I'm a chubby, bearded guy. Why would they want to abduct me? I'm afraid of going to the police, as our police department and politics are corrupt, and they always worked with any kind of mafias as long as I can remember. They would take my testimony, start to investigate, and they would be stopped by their officials. I still don't fully believe what happened to me was an experience with human trafficking ring. However, there are so many red flags of it that I can remember. Like, why would Pedro be scared after I called him out? Why would he stop talking to me unless someone sent him a message on his phone? Why wouldn't he even message somebody during the conversation? Why the fuck would he drug me without knowing it? But ultimately, why the fuck would they let me go? So, Pedro, the 2 girls from the weird hotel, and possibly the Colombian human trafficking, let's not fucking me ever again. Edit, got rid of the wall of text. There was still a lot of text, but apparently there used to be more. Update, I went to the ER with my mom this early morning as I woke up with spasms all over my body. They gave me an IV and sent a sample of my blood for toxicology report. They did some tests, EKG and blood pressure, and they've sent me home approximately 3 hours ago. The results of the toxicology just came by mail to my mom. There was traces of acetafentanil, ethynyl phenidate, and ketamine in my blood. I can't believe I actually read those all out loud. Fuck yeah. Also, while I was being given the IV, the doctor said to my mom that this is not uncommon, that they've had a lot of patients who've been unknowingly drugged in the last few years. He said that it wasn't this common before. Edit, remove the exact location from the post for security purposes. Holy shit, like, genuinely, like, that's crazy. And the fact that you were able to, like, once you started feeling it, the fact that you were able to, like, tell that you were drugged, that's still crazy that they let him go. Like, I also want to know why they let him go, but it's weird that they did that. It does kind of sound like human trafficking, but I wonder, like, if they maybe thought he was an easy target, or because he was a nice guy and they could tell he was drunk, that's like why they thought he was some sort of a target. But this person is like so crazy lucky, and I think the younger guy was probably very new to this still and had no idea what to do, especially with him being a bigger guy. You would need more to actually knock him out. So especially like with the mix of drugs, they definitely messed up the dosage, and OP is like, unfortunately, like, that's actually a horrible thing to happen. But honestly, he's so lucky that like he survived and didn't actually get abducted, because it really sounds like that's what was about to happen. Okay, that was all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.